Hi, this is Isio, and welcome back to Angels with Scaly Wings. We've been hearing a lot of rumours lately, especially about Maverick and what might be going on at the police station. I'm kind of worried, and we kind of need to go and see what's going to happen over there. So let's go take a look and see what the story is. How bad is it going to be? Strangely, the streets felt anxious as I made my way through town. Everybody around me seemed to be more tense, with the occasional eye glancing at me with a feeling of uncertain hope. At least that's what I could gather from the several passers-by. Hopefully, everything is working, but I'm not convinced. Upon entering the police station, I noticed several officers gathered in various locations. Some of them, like Sebastian sitting with his head in his hands, I recognised. Others I did not, such as a bluish-grey dragon with pinkish frills looking worryingly out toward the crowd. It didn't take long for someone to take notice of me. Hello? This isn't the best time for you to be here. Why? Why shoo someone away who might be of help, Chief? Not now, Maverick. Just, look, things are a mess right now. You have to come back another time if you want to have a chat. This is about Maverick killing Reza, isn't it? If only it were as simple as that. We wouldn't be having a crisis if it was only about Maverick killing Reza. I had a talk with Logan before he went away. Ever since he came to our world and said that a feral dragon killed Reza, I had my suspicions about something being misinterpreted. Though, I figured out from Logan that humanity believed that a random feral dragon just showed up and killed Reza. I know you don't have any reason to lie to humanity despite your relationship with Maverick, so you're out the picture. Sebastian wouldn't have been responsible, as he directly oversaw you writing your report. He would have informed me of anything suspicious. So, who bloody else could hide Maverick's actions than Maverick himself? Somehow, he managed to get your report into his hands and forged it to hide his own back. Never once had I seen corruption in this force. Not once. And having Maverick be the one do it, the friend I've had for so many years. I'm sorry, Bryce. I'm sorry for my sake as well. But not now. I have business to attend to. Please, leave. No. Sebastian, you two? Let me explain myself, Chief. Isio is as involved in this as I am. After all, who else could serve as a better witness to both of Maverick's actions than someone who directly saw Reza's death and someone who was involved with the forged report? Sure, I'm an official police officer and thus better suited for this decision regarding official business, but at this point, Isio might as well be an honorary member. Besides, he could perhaps be able to provide a better understanding of Maverick's actions. The room drowned in silence after Sebastian's unexpected words. Bryce stood in deep thought for some time before turning around to look away from both me and the rest of the force. Alright then, let's have a vote, shall we? Who's in favour of letting Isio get involved in this decision? Nearly the entire room responded, whether that be the lifting of hands, claws, or standing up. Only a few sat in silence. Then, by my authority as chief of the police force, I allow Isio to be a part of our decision-making process. Well, you saw them all. Looks like you have to get yourself involved with official police business one more time. Okay, I hope to be of help. What are my orders? At this point, I might as well be a police officer, with being an ambassador as a side job. Oh wow, big decisions. I hope that I can help. So, Maverick's been busted. We kind of knew that he already did it, but it was done for pragmatic reasons. Okay, since when haven't you been of use? I'll trust your judgment and advice, whatever that might be. Now, I must ask you to chime in every once in a while when something comes up. Your opinions here will be critical to our decision. Okay. Everybody, let's continue where we left off. Bryce walked to a nearby desk and grabbed a few papers strewn haphazardly across it. He then came back to me and handed a few sheets of paper to me, letting me read through them quickly. Maverick was accused of the murder of a high-profile guest who he was supposed to be protecting. There were also mentions of Reza and his actions, but I skipped them due to knowing everything there was to know about the Reza case. He was also charged with corruption for lying both to the Council and humanity due to Maverick forging both reports. There was a brief description that went into further detail, but I didn't have the chance to read it before Bryce started talking again. Maverick gave me a slight glance, indicating some sort of concealed desire, before turning his head away to look at Bryce again. Okay, Maverick, I'll try my best to repay the favour for you for giving humanity a chance. So, we've agreed that Maverick's sick leave doesn't give him a pass for his crimes, right? Let's revisit Reza's death and hear everybody's opinions. According to this statement, Reza was killed outside of the underground facility on the night of the fireworks due to a bite wound from Maverick. Yet in the official report, it was said that a feral dragon entered an unknown back door and killed Reza while Isio, me and a librarian working for the council were confronting him. This official report was written by none other than Maverick, who handed a copy to the council as well as a report to humanity in some way. What I don't understand is how this was managed. I have the idea that Maverick somehow got a hold of Usio's report without letting Sebastian notice anything about it. Any suggestions? I'm saying there had to be some extra insight to make it possible. Is there a possibility it was an inside job? That doesn't make sense though. The only way this could be possible is if there was a relationship between Maverick and Isio, but given how the two had gotten along up until now, that'd be unlikely. I mean, we know that he went and made a photocopy, didn't he? That's when it happened. Maverick just wouldn't have a reason to ask for my help. An ulterior motive had to be at play. A sudden turn of feelings could have changed that. Do I want to implicate myself in this? Is this wise? I'll set him out. If I say this, it's squarely on Maverick. There had to be an ulterior motive. Maverick isn't the type to do something like this just to avoid punishment, at least from what I know about him. I'm guessing that he had to have a pretty strong reason to even try to do what he did. Fair point, but I'm afraid that just raises more questions than answers. Why would Maverick feel this strongly about something to warrant his actions? How would forging the report to help him in a meaningful way outside of still being a part of the Force? We just don't have enough points. I'm right here, Bryce. I'm sure I'll help you if you just ask nicely. Your turn will come later. I figure that Maverick must have had the original report and forged it at the time and place where nobody would notice. The only point in time where I could think it could have happened was where copies of the report were made. This is correct. Damn. Isio wrote the report while Sebastian kept watch, that's for certain. Due to us having a few copies of the report ourselves, I'm guessing that someone had the chance to edit it while those copies were made. It would have been the perfect opportunity for Maverick to make any changes he wanted. He wouldn't have had enough time. What about the report to the council? It's the only time I hadn't seen Maverick when I wrote the report. I don't know what to put. What about the report for the council? That was done before your report, remember? Maverick could have said what he wanted in that and edited yours to give him an alibi. Do you really think that he'd remember everything that he wrote in the council's report word for word, or just to make it accurate? Yeah, I've known him for far longer than you do. He's always proven himself to be the one with the most vivid memory. For better or for worse. Next section. It should be at this point be fairly clear that Maverick has used dishonest methods to try and prevent being found out. The question is, why? Sure, you could assume that he still wanted to work as an officer of the law after Red's death, but that would directly contradict the point of being an officer in the first place. We're here to uphold the law and protect those who need us. Yes, Maverick did protect me and Isio from Reza, but by killing him, he severely damaged diplomatic relations with humanity. Speaking of which, I've got some news about the trade. Humanity has reconsidered their ultimatum and is willing to extend the deadline that we have. Is that so? I wasn't expecting to hear news of the trade at this time. Especially considering that everything about it seems sketchy. Why would humanity suddenly extend their ultimatum when they seemed pretty serious last time about having the council reply in a given time frame? It's a long story. I'm sure Emra will fill you in eventually. It's not something I'm looking forward to, but alright. Permission to speak, Chief? Sure. I believe that Reza's death was something that happened in the moment, like the incident with Miles a few years back. What are the odds that Maverick forged that report to try and fix his mistakes after the situation died down? The room grew eerily silent, creating a sense of concealed intensity. Eyes darted around the room, trying to find some sort of signal that someone might speak, yet the whole Miles issue isn't something that's touched on quite a lot. Maverick, looking almost melancholic in a sense, stood up and raised his voice slightly, stuttering as he thought about what to say. I took a personal pledge after my brother's passing. For as long as I'm still an officer, I won't ever let anybody else die on my watch, especially not Bryce. My brother died so that Bryce could live. If I'd let Bryce die by Reza's hands, Miles's death would have been for nothing. Did any of you think that I would just stand idly by while hoping that Bryce wouldn't get killed by that pathetic excuse for an ambassador? Draw whatever conclusions you want from these words, I don't care. I did what I had to do to protect those that were closest to me. Maverick sat back down, leaving a feeling of mild surprise and wonder hanging in the air. Nobody dared to speak for some time, as the police force pondered Maverick's words. But of course, it couldn't have been silent forever. Bryce resumed his talking, although with a hint of sympathy betraying his otherwise professional presentation. I didn't think that this is how you felt, Maverick. I know how touchy a subject this is for you, and for you to reveal this to us all at this time. Even if it might go against you, and chances are it will, I thank you for telling us this. Just go on where you left off, Chief. I'd rather not linger on this. Right. Am I correct in deducing that Maverick killed Reza in the defense of others? Everybody in the room nodded their heads, except for Maverick, who silently sat and stared at Bryce. Okay, what do you say? Maverick confessed as to why he killed Reza, but why do you think he forged the report? To continue his job as an officer, to confuse anybody that might want to dig deeper, or to thank me. This is difficult. He did it, I think, because he doesn't really care about himself in so many ways. I don't think being a police officer is that critical thing for him. I think it's more because of the comet. Okay, I'm gonna go to thank me. We're gonna take the hit for this one. Excuse me. Hear me out. Remember back at the underground facility when I stalled for time for Remy to get help? What about it? After you'd been shot, I followed Reza's instructions and went outside, where Maverick leapt on Reza. For all I know, this could be Maverick's way of thanking me for not letting Reza kill you while you were stuck down there. I'm not sure I follow. How would you benefit from Maverick forging the report? If humanity knew that Reza's escort was the one that killed him, humanity might have cut contact there and then. By lying, Maverick could have potentially saved our diplomatic relationship. Maverick. It's a pretty good deduction, I'll admit. Interesting that Isio managed to figure that much out so quick. Better watch out, Chief. You've got competition. Well, what do we do now? Are we going to inform everybody of what actually happened at the night of the fireworks? Doing so would cause the trade to be in danger, though. Yeah, but won't the Maverick case divert attention away from focusing on more important things like the comet? Probably, though, that Maverick can't just be left unpunished. He's committed serious crimes. What would that make us look like if we let him go with just a simple slap on the maw? Maverick and the humans? Surely they want justice for— Quiet! Give me some time to think, please. I'll return shortly. A loud burst of voices oozed into the air. Sounds of arguments and agreements blended together into one incoherent mess. Having had enough of this, I walked to where Bryce just stood. Everybody listen! The conversation abruptly came to a halt, and several curious glances were cast my way. I had a brief moment of self-awareness, but I quickly regained my composure and spoke. Thank you. During this meeting, I have come to a few conclusions of my own that I need to share to help everybody come to a final decision. Some of you might be bound by the law, always following orders as loyally as you can. After all, the laws kept your civilization going for as long as anybody can remember. Yet, sometimes those laws need to be bent. Not every case can fit the law perfectly. That's why judges and juries exist, to fill the gap. Right now, even more so. If anything were to happen that might put the trade in danger, both of our civilizations would suffer. I ask you this, don't let old traditions impact new decisions. How else are we able to progress into a better future if we're all stuck with the customs of the past? Are you asking us to simply ignore Maverick's crimes entirely for the sake of maybe having a better future? For all we know, letting him go might cause more damage than just dealing with him now. He must be dealt with, but not now. How much would he really cause? You're blowing it out of proportion. Okay, he did do the bad thing, but now's not the time. What Maverick did was bad, yes, but if we focus on what he's done now, then how much time will we have to focus about the bigger problems that we're facing soon? We can all deal with Maverick at a later date, after the comet has passed and the trade's been completed. Murmurs started to emanate after I finished speaking. I turned my head to Maverick, who only looked at me with an expression of concern, making me feel a bit uneasy. Did I really make the impact that I wanted to make? Sebastian silently took notes of my advice, looking over what I had said with suppressed confusion and doubt, as if two conflicting viewpoints were having a duel in his mind to determine which viewpoint he'd believe in. Bryce entered the room, looking far more calm than a few moments ago. By the looks of things, he'd come to terms with whatever thoughts were brewing within his mind. I've come to a final decision about what to do with Maverick. With Isio's thoughts, as well as some things that arose from everybody else currently here, I feel that this decision is unbiased enough to make. Naturally, should anybody disagree, please speak your mind. What's going to happen? Maverick will stay as a police officer for the sake of keeping the trade going. We already narrowly avoided the trade ending, so I don't want to stretch our luck even thinner than it already is. However, Maverick won't go unpunished. He will be suspended for a month while making use of our counselling services so that Maverick won't ever do what he did again. This will start as soon as the trade has been completed. We will also not make any information about Maverick's involvement public outside of the council. In the eyes of humanity, a feral dragon bit Reza to death, as stupid as it sounds. The police force burst into chatter once more, all uniting with sounds of agreement and welcoming Bryce's decision to keep a valuable member of the force. Maverick shot a glance over at me, showing a stoic expression of what I assumed to be gratitude. Are there any objections? None? Then my decision is final. Sebastian, I want you to go to Emra and announce the news. Sure, Chief. As for you, Maverick, go to the production facility to help with whatever they need. I'm sure that extra help would be appreciated so that more time could be spent generating power for the comet. Everybody else is dismissed. Except for you, Isio. Yes, what's up? I wanted to thank you for giving your opinions. You have no idea how stressful this whole ordeal has been for me the past few days. Reza's death was on my conscience for quite some time, and after I found out about the forged reports as well, I was on the verge of cracking. I'm just glad that I could have helped you make the decision, Bryce. It's appreciated. I guess that things would have been a lot more hectic if I'd been successful in chasing you away. And to add to that, Maverick didn't have to get discharged while still serving a punishment, a compromise that both sides are happy with. Yeah. Say, how about we go to the bar this evening to celebrate? So soon? I mean, it wasn't that long ago since we were at the bar. Come on, it's a celebration for goodness sake. I'm planning on bringing Sebastian and Maverick as well, so it's not going to be something to miss. I'll have to think about it. Anything could pop up between now and later. I guess, yeah. Still, feel free to head to the bar at sundown if you're able to. Got it. But for now, I have to get back to work. After all, I've got to do quite a lot of paperwork. I don't know if you've heard, but you're able to go around town without an escort anymore. Cool, yeah, I heard. Great, well, I'll see you around. Goodbye, Bryce. Good luck with the work. I made my way out of the police office, feeling mentally exhausted after what had just transpired. Oh, wow. Deciding to take a breather, I went to Taxi Park to rest and gather my thoughts. Hopefully Maverick is okay with what happened. I think it's fair. I arrived at the park and looked around for a bit. It seemed to be unusually quiet, with only a few dragons occasionally passing by the blooming trees. I felt a sense of calm within myself as everybody went around their business, wondering how things were back home. Yet within that same sense of tranquility, anxiety started brewing deep within my soul. Will the generators from the underground facility truly be enough to redirect the comet? Will humanity be able to survive long enough? Will Logan be alright? Perhaps I just need to take a small nap to clear my mind. I sat down on the nearby bench under a tree and made myself comfortable. It wasn't long before I dozed off into the realm of dreams. Falling asleep in public places is a risky business. Isio? Oh, Remy here. Are you listening? Isio? Huh? You gonna wake up? Hello? Remy? Thank goodness you're okay. I was worried you wouldn't wake up. You must have been exhausted to have slept that deep. I've been trying to get you awake for some time now. How long? You think I was dead or something? It's okay. I just wanted to rest. How long was I out for? About 5 minutes. That must have been scary, actually. It was. Did something happen that made you so exhausted? All I did today was go to Emera, as you know. Oh, and I went to the police office as well to see what was going on there. That was a whole thing. And now I see why you took a nap. I can't imagine the chaos that had to be dealt with there. It wasn't that bad. Perhaps not. Mind if I sit next to you? Please, go ahead. Remy gently sat next to me on the park bench. Instead of giving me space, he squeezed himself against my side, sighing lightly. So, Remy, could I ask you a question? Of course. What were you doing here in the first place? I needed to take a break from work. I usually go to Tatsu Park when I need to get away from Emma for a bit, even if I know that she likes to be here as well. Things have been so rough at work recently, with all the research I have to do in such a finite amount of time, while also putting up with Emma every single day. It takes a toll. I don't even know how I'm even putting through. I love doing the research, but this, every single day, I need to analyse as much information as I can for the council. There's no passion in it whatsoever. Yet, that's not the worst part. It's the fact that if I don't do this, everybody might die. Remy. I'm stuck, Isio. It's like I have to sacrifice myself for the survival of others. It's just that I don't think there's anything left to sacrifice. Remy, listen to me. You're burning yourself out due to all your work. That much is obvious. Please, take it easy for a bit. From what I can gather, you've already done a ton of research. I'm sure the council will be able to make a good decision with the resources you've provided them already. Don't overwork yourself. Nobody will benefit from it. Remy stared blankly at me, showing an emotionless expression. His seemingly hollow eyes glistened at me, exhausted, devoid of any will to continue talking or to think. Remy? No, I'll not overwork myself. That simply would not do, would it? I cannot lose myself now, not when everyone is depending on me. My apologies. I don't know what came over me. I wasn't myself. It's okay. Are you feeling better now? I guess I am, though I can't point out why. It's strange that I always seem to feel better after I spend some time with you. Despite these last few days being some of the most stressful in my life, having you around makes that weight far easier to bear. I'm just happy that I can be there for you when you need it most. And I truly thank you for it. I just realised something. What is it? It was really immature of me to suddenly burst out like that at you. I really shouldn't have dumped all my feelings on you without at least asking if it was okay to do so. You really should have asked first. At least you're not keeping it inside. Don't feel guilty. It's fine. I told you that you can talk to me about anything, Remy. That extends to any time as well. Don't worry about it too much. Okay, I'll try not to. We should hang out and, relax or something. But this isn't the time nor the place. I'm just happy that you at least listened. Remy unexpectedly wrapped his wing around my body like a blanket, gently holding me closer to his warm, soft scales. We sat like this for a while, not making any moves, nor speaking to each other. It was only natural, however, that the silence would eventually be broken. I really should get to work, but I don't want to go back just yet. I don't like to say this, but I need this moment. It feels calming. Take as long as you need. I wish I could. Remy unwrapped his wing and stood up from the bench. He looked back at me and gave a slight smile before stretching like a cat. Goodbye, Isio. I'll see you another time. And thanks. Don't mention it. Good luck with your work. I wish you the same. Instead of taking off like I expected Remy to, he somberly marched his way to the edge of the park on his way to the library. There he goes. I do hope that he takes his health seriously. Feeling mentally recharged enough from spending a brief amount of time with Remy, I decided to head out once more. Where are we gonna go? I looked around me as I walked through the town with a sense of hope, knowing that with my and Remy's efforts, this world will be saved. I realised that despite everyone's hardships, nothing would be in vain. However, any further thoughts that I might have had were cut short as I heard footsteps approaching from behind me. Maverick, I swear that— oh please, I haven't got that fat since I last saw you. I'd have to eat quite a lot to match Maverick in weight. Logan? Oh, he's back. Oh, he looked rough though, surprised. Judging from your eyes, I'm guessing that you didn't sleep, as usual. What a wonderful and insightful observation that you just made. It would have taken decades of our greatest innovators to figure out what you just did in mere seconds. Of course I didn't get any sleep. It was for a reason though. I wanted to come back and help things out here as fast as I could. Luckily, the contributions I made warranted my return. With the spare parts and blueprints I bought, I managed to reconstruct a kinda stable generator that should keep humanity going for about a week. Granted, it's only strong enough to partially power the hospital, but it was apparently enough for the authorities. With some persuading, I managed to get back here. What about all the parts that you told me you needed to be repaired? So the generator I made will supposedly provide enough power for somebody more qualified to be healed, who will then be responsible for the scrap. With my blueprints, they'd be able to construct some sort of hybrid generator from both humanity's and Dragonkind's parts. At least, that's what I think. All I did was test which parts were responsive to make a generator, and you know, made the generator. Oh, and before I forget, you need to send your PDA to humanity. They desperately need it to repair most of the scrap. My PDA should be back at my apartment. Mind doing me a favour and getting it? I can go to your apartment, sure. I'll just take a nice long nap before I bring it to you. Right. Speaking of, why are you so tired? You could have just taken the nap before coming here. I almost forgot, but all those things I've told you about, I've also worked on them through many nights in order to finish them as soon as possible. The authorities gave me the opportunity to return, which I took as fast as I could before they reconsidered, and so here we are. Just gotta take the chance before it gets taken away after all. Me sleeping probably would have been the cause of that. Well, now that you're here, you'll have to make a visit to Emera first. Hell no, not now. I'm going to take a nice long nap before I visit that bureaucratic hag. Be careful what you say, Logan. We don't want to risk everything we've worked on up till now. Besides, an ambassador isn't supposed to act like that, something you should know by now. Yeah, I just can't think straight now, so forgive me for that. Still, I'd much rather crash at your place for a while, until I've gotten enough rest to visit her. By the way, why are you without Sebastian? Are we free to go now where we want without an escort? With you here? The answer is a definite maybe. It's a long story. Save it for later. You can fill me on the details then, but for now, I'm going to go sleep on your couch, and there's nothing you can do about it. Knock yourself out. Did you really have to make a pun now? I didn't notice till you pointed it out. Puns always lighten the mood. What? I thought it was your dream to enjoy some good puns every once in a while. Ow. Do not. Now, I'll see you later. Sleep calls, and I must obey. He just slapped me. Logan walked off into the distance toward my apartment. Despite being tired, I could see that Logan took the longer road toward my apartment, away from potential prying eyes. I decided to follow him to see whether he'd fall asleep on his way home. Oh, have we made it back? Just about. I eventually arrived at the outside of my apartment, where I saw Logan sleeping on the doorstep. Oh right, I kinda locked the door, so he wouldn't have been able to get in. Just drag his ass in. I unlocked the door and tried to shake Logan awake, but he kept on sleeping. Eventually, I gave up on trying to wake him. However, not wanting Logan to wake up even crankier with a sore neck, I got a spare pillow from my apartment and put it on the ground, and gently moved Logan so his head rested comfortably on the pillow. Sleep well. While here, I decided I might as well grab my PDA and send it through the portal. No need to keep humanity waiting for something that might give me more time here. If my estimations were correct, then humanity's portal should still be active for me right now to send it through. Okay, let's go take that. There we go. I walked back out of my apartment, leaving the door unlocked in case Logan decided to wake up. As a cool wind popped up from nowhere, a strong sense of duty overcame me. I realised just how intricately weaved Logan's plan was, keeping both sides as happy as possible while everything was balancing on an unstable lie. Send that through, pop it in the post. As was tradition, I made my way to the portal on top of the hill. Is anybody guarding it? Hopefully not. The two pillars stood as grand as ever, defying the natural scenery of the surrounding areas. I powered the portal up and put the PDA on the floor. I had to wait a while as the portal continued its routine before the PDA could be sent through. Luckily, I didn't have to wait long for that to happen. It slowly vanished, presumably ending up right on the other side. Hopefully it's all good. As the portal powered down, an eerie silence enveloped me, its call striking at the depths of my mind. Something about all of this felt off to me, yet I couldn't point out why. Was something unexpected going to happen now that I sent my PDA through to humanity? Perhaps my mind was simply playing tricks on me due to the stress I've been going through as of late, yet I can't feel certain about it. I turned around to walk back to my apartment, only to unexpectedly bump into somebody instead. I'll give you credit where credit's due. I didn't even hear you this time round. Maverick. Mostly because you were using the portal when I snuck up on you. Oh, so he admits that he did sneak. I'm guessing that whatever you sent through was going to help maintain diplomatic relations on the human side. I guess you could say that. Then at least you're still doing your part in not causing both our civilizations to collapse. Okay. There's Logan. Lots of work to do. It's only because of you that I'm even able to do this. I only threw humanity off. You did all the hard work. You deserve the credit. Besides, even if I was the catalyst for this reaction, you were the spark that got it going. You seem awfully relaxed. Especially for what happened back in the office. Yeah, you can say that. I expected to get a far worse punishment, yet here I am, still a member of the Force. Normally the punishment for corruption and murder isn't this lax. And to think that this is all you're doing, I appreciate it. Don't mention it, I simply wanted to return the favour. So it seems. You know, I was wrong to have automatically assumed that you were just like Reza, always scheming, always hiding something from me. I mean, I can't blame you. The only perception of a human you had before I came was Reza, so it was only natural for you to have assumed that Reza represented how every human acted. And now you can see why I was initially so suspicious of you. Yeah. Thanks for looking out for me. Without you, I probably would have experienced far worse things than I otherwise would have. Friends. Friends. I raised my hand and pointed it toward Maverick while signalling for a handshake. Maverick, not knowing what to do, decided to grab my hand with all of his claws and followed my motions. So, what even brought you here in the first place? I'm supposed to be the portal guard for the rest of the day. Usually Sebastian would take the shift, but I volunteered to take it instead. How kind of you. No, not kindness. I needed a breather from everybody else. Oh, how come? Everybody's been treating me differently since Bryce informed the Force about what I did. Not only was I shunned by Bryce during the Reza case, but now I'm being shunned by everybody I thought was my friend. Hence, the break. I'm sure it will pass eventually, but for now, I'd rather keep my distance. Should I give you some personal space then? Only if you want to. At this point, I don't even mind you being here. Thanks. I'll take it as a compliment. Take a seat. I'm sure you don't want to constantly stand. Well, we're having an actual hangout with Maverick one-on-one. I gently sat down on the ground. Lush grass surrounding the portal. Not entirely comfortable around Maverick. I still maintain my distance from him. You know, Bryce is going to have a celebration at the bar later. I'm guessing I'm involved somehow. Yeah, Bryce already invited me. He said he wanted to celebrate the fact that he didn't have to have you discharged. I should have guessed. It wouldn't have been easy for Bryce to let me go, especially not with all the hell that's been going on recently. I don't know if you picked this up, but Bryce has been drinking heavily lately. Yeah, Sebastian told me about it. So he's also worried. I've been wondering about that actually. If Sebastian already told you about Bryce's worsening habits, then you already know why I'm concerned about him. This is too much, even for Bryce. Which is why I'm hesitant about going to a party. Not only would I subconsciously cause him to drink more due to all of his pent-up stress about me, but the added social aspect of drinking with friends tends to cause one to consume far more alcohol than one otherwise would. Based on my theories, I doubt that Sebastian would want to come along either, for much of the same reasons. Leaving Bryce to have yet another lonely time at the bar with Jean to take care of him after he passes out. Precisely. It's a case of Bryce being damned either way. And it's not as if I can cut him off easily either. Bryce can get irrationally angry if you take his beer away, whether directly or indirectly. But enough about Bryce. I'm assuming that you've been keeping up with the council's orders? Yeah, I have. Good. Like I said, all our lives are depending on your actions now. Screw up, and you get to experience what Reza felt just before dying. Aha. It's a joke. Humour's not your strong point, is it? Get me drunk and ask again. Perhaps I don't need to. It's been interesting seeing you be so kind and open lately. Don't get used to it. I'm just in a good mood. Well, I think I need to be going. See you around. Nice talking to you. Feelings mutual, Maverick. I got up and brushed the blades of grass off my pants. With the rest of my day ahead of me, I struggled to come up with something to spend it on. Just go for a walk around town. As I walked through town, my mind lit up as I remembered the conversation with Remy I had earlier. I started to grow concerned about the way he acted, especially in regards to how he stared blankly at me when I told him not to overwork himself. Perhaps I might have to make a trip to the library once more. This is a long day, and I think I'm going to have to cut this episode off here. We're going to hang out in the library and with Remy a little bit more in the next episode. This is Isio signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.